In this episode of NBA Sports Talk with Walter Strong III, tonight we discuss one of the hottest questions online right now. Simply, who is the greatest point guard of all times? Is it Irvin Magic Johnson from the Los Angeles Lakers, or is it Stephen Curry of the Golden State Warriors? Tonight, we discuss who is the GOAT. Do me a favor, grab yourself a pen, a pad. It's truly time to go to work. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to NBA Sports Talk with Walter Strong III. I'm your host. If you're new here and you want to talk NBA basketball and more from a fan's perspective, we welcome you to the show. And as we said tonight, we're going to get into the topic. We're going to discuss the question, who is the GOAT when it comes to the point guard position? Is it one Irvin Magic Johnson of the Los Angeles Lakers, or is it Steph Curry? Oh, he's a bad man. The one that make Mike Breen go bang. Tonight, we're going to get into the discussion of who's the GOAT. So if you're just joining me on YouTube this evening, let me know in the chat where you're watching me from. Give me a hashtag Team Live. And if you're watching the replay of this episode of NBA Sports Talk with Walter Strong III, give us a hashtag Team Replay in the comments section. So without further ado, let's get into the content. Let's go ahead and tackle this question on who is the GOAT. The GOAT debate on, is it Irvin Magic Johnson from the Los Angeles Lakers, or is it Steph Curry from the Golden State Warriors? And let's set the context of why this discussion is being had tonight. Recently, Steph Curry was interviewed by Gilbert Arenas on his podcast. And one of the questions Gilbert Arenas asked Steph Curry was simply, are you the greatest point guard ever? And to some surprise, people's surprise, he came right out and says, yes, I am the best. And then Gilbert went a step further and said, are you greater than Magic Johnson? He said, yes. And from a fan or an analyst or former or current player to hear that declaration and confidence from someone, for some people would say that's a little braggadocious there. But when you are confident in who you are, and when you are confident in your abilities of what you've done and accomplished and what you still are capable of doing, to be able to make that declaration to say you are the best, you are the greatest, you are the creme a la creme, hey, you got to respect that. But of course, the sports shows from First Take to Undisputed all begin to go crazy and buzz and say, hey, who is the GOAT? And so we couldn't let this month close out and going into September without us having this discussion on who is the GOAT. And so if you're ready, let's get into this discussion. But before we jump in, we definitely got to say good evening to my dear sister from Equip Institute, Power Productivity at its finest, Florence Donald in the house. All right, so we did our greetings. Let's get into this discussion. And let's open up with, a definition. We need a running definition. What is a point guard? When you look at Irvin Magic Johnson at 6'9", when he was playing, he was not your prototypical point guard that was in the NBA. He was a little more taller. The man had the ability to play 5 positions. Point guard, small forward, power forward. Even in the NBA Finals, played center. So he wasn't your typical prototypical point guard. He wasn't like a John Stockton or an Isaiah Thomas. But let's give the definition of what is a point guard. Well, back in the 80s, the point guard position was the player who facilitated and be able to get the ball to other players. He was the person who set the tempo, who was the one who ran the offense to get his team up and down the court. He was the point guard. And so when you look at it from the definition from Irvin Magic Johnson's era in time, from Isaiah Thomas to John Stockton to Maurice Cheeks, who am I missing? Dennis Johnson and more, that was the point guard position. And the point guard, he would get his points and he would score based on the plays that was called for him by the head coach. But for the most part, the point guard was the one who set the offense, he set the tempo, and he got people involved. And so that's our definition of a point guard. But we also have to look at the definition of the point guard in today's time, because NBA basketball has changed. We're not seeing the game and experiencing the game as we did in the 70s, the late 70s. I got to go from the time I started to the 80s, to the 90s, to the 2000s. We have to look at the game at where it's at now. And see, the point guard today now, he's not the person that's primarily running the offense. In most cases, you have a power forward or slash point forward, like a Draymond Green or a Ben Simmons that's running the offense. And the point guard position player now is a part of a team system in which the offense in most cases is running to them because of the point forward moving the ball around to ultimately getting it to a Dame Lillard, getting it to a Steph Curry or a Russell Westbrook. So we have to look at today's definition compared to the era of Magic Johnson's definition. Both produce winning. If you're a person who's watching HBO Max and Winning Time with the Los Angeles Lakers documentary, they won championships in that era with the point guard facilitating, getting the offense moving and getting assists and getting steals. But even in this era, the point guard is still getting it done. So you got two definitions. So now that we have that, now let's get into this debate. Who is the greatest? Who is the greatest? Want to say good evening to my man Joshua UL in the house on NBA Sports Talk with Walter Strong III. Good evening, sir. Who is the greatest? Well, let's look at here we got that. Let's look at Magic's career stats. And I want to make this bigger, so if it's a little difficult for you to see, I want to make it easier for all of us, including myself. Come on, there we go. Okay, perfect. All right. So let's look at Magic's career stats. Magic for 13 seasons was a 12-time All-Star. His career scoring average of 19.5 points. Left off his field goal percentage, but I believe he was somewhere in the high 50s. He was in the high 50s. 3-point field goal percentage was a little close to about 30%, if I recall looking at my notes. And then, 7.2 rebounds, 11.2 assists. It's interesting, and I don't want to jump ahead. When you look at Magic's MVP seasons, he won it 3 times, and we'll get into that more. He was averaging anywhere between 11 to 12 assists for that season in his MVP season. So he was facilitating and moving the ball. He was setting the tempo and getting the offense involved. He was passing it to individuals like Byron Scott, passing it on to Michael Cooper, and passing it to people like AC Green, and you can't forget Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. So he was the facilitator. He was probably in some people's opinions, he was truly the leader of what a point guard should be, and also to the Lakers. All right. So that's Magic. Now let's look at Steph. Steph, who's still going at 14 seasons, 9-time All-Star, 24.6 career points per game, and still going 47.5 field goal position. Say, Walter, you didn't put Magics down. Are you pro Steph? No, I just forgot to add it in the notes there. That's all. Then 42.8 3-pointers. So now Steph definitely has the advantage when it comes to 3-pointers. He has the advantage. What else we got? 4.7 rebounds, 6.5 assists. So when you look at the career stats and average, and you say Steph Curry or Magic Johnson, keep that in mind. Now let's go to their accomplishments. Let's look at Magic's accomplishments. 3-time MVP, regular MVP. And as I said, during his MVP, he was averaging in assists anywhere between 11 to 12 assists per season when he was basically doing a double-double. And when he went to back-to-back, same thing. He's a 5-time NBA champion. Of those 5 times, he ended up winning 3 Finals MVPs. He was a 1-time All-Star MVP. And what else? 1-time All-NBA second team. He was check this out now, a 4-time assist leader. So you see where the emphasis in the era and what made Magic Johnson great. And then on top of that, 2-time steal leader. When you look at a point guard, definitely he was the top in his era. All right. Let's look at Steph's career accomplishments at this point. He's a 2-time MVP. Of his 2 times MVP, he went back-to-back, similar just like Magic. He is the only unanimous winner to be made an MVP. The only one in the season at this time. Thought I want to add that. Though Magic may have 3, Steph is the only unanimous winner. He is a recent Finals MVP. He is a 4-time NBA champion. He is a 2-time scoring leader. He is a 1-time steal leader. He is a 4-time All-NBA first team, 4-time All-NBA second team. So when you look at the stats, you look at the accomplishments, it makes sense in why Steph felt it was important to say, yes, I am the greatest. I am the best point guard that the NBA has today and that has thus far. He can make the case. If you combine the stats to the accomplishments, he can make the case. And so the question that I have for you, Florence and Joshua, and those of you who are just joining in the chat, give me a hashtag Team Live. Let me know where you're watching me from. When you look at the stats, you look at the accomplishments of each one, which one stands out the most with the most accomplishments and stats to you? Is it Magic or is it Steph? Let me know in the chat. And if you're watching the replay up to this point, let me know in the comments section. When you look at their stats, when you look at their accomplishments, is it Steph or is it Magic? Because Steph has a point. He has definitely a point in the simple fact that he's still playing. He's still playing. He still has the possibility with that Golden State roster of competing for another championship if he continues to stay healthy. And now with the recent addition of Chris Paul, he still can make more history. Still can make more history. Hey, now let's get into the question. And as you throw your response in the chat, in your opinion, looking at the stats, the accomplishments, but I also want to look at Also in terms of championships, because in this era that we live in, we judge NBA players based on how many chips they have. We also judge them in terms of the impact that they have on the league. So let's jump over here to the chat and see what you got. Um, Definitely, thank you, sir. Let's get into some chat. Okay, can't believe you have not said Isaiah Thomas from this. I want to. I want to. Don't get it twisted. I want to. But reality smacks you in the face. And when you look at what Steph Curry has accomplished already thus far, and you look at what Irvin Magic Johnson, which has accomplished, which we went over on the top 10 point guards, when we went over that, and Isaiah's number 2, in terms of retired players. If we're talking about non-active retired players, I have Isaiah as number 2. However, the ones I introduce retired and active together, then Isaiah drops to number 3. Steph or Magic is either going to be 1 or 2. But I want to, but I don't want to start a riot. I want to start a riot. Let's see where we're at. Team Live, yes sir, yes sir. Team Live in the building this evening. Team Live, and she says hashtag Steph for the win. Josh says hashtag Steph for the win. All right, so we got one there for Steph. So when you look at accomplishments, I would have to give the edge to Magic in terms of accomplishments. I would have to give the edge to Magic. When it comes to championships, Steph has 4, Magic has 5. Since everyone likes to judge championships when they have the GOAT debate with Michael and LeBron, LeBron has 4, Michael has 6, and Kareem has 6 too, but nobody mentions his name. I digress. Magic has 5. When you look at the career stats, you got to give the advantage, I believe, to Steph Curry. But I want to throw another one at you. Impact on the league. When you look at the impact that Magic Johnson had on the league with him competing against Larry Bird and Dr. J, Julius Erving, when you look at the impact that he had on the league and, with shoe deals with Converse and, just his overall impact, Magic and Bird both together really turned the league around. They really did. They really did. But at the same time, now when Michael comes in after finally beating the Pistons, because historians get it wrong. They say it's Bird, Magic, and then Michael. No. We don't do that on NBA Sports Talk here. It's Bird, Magic, Dr. J, but primarily Bird and Magic. Then it was the Pistons, then Michael. But since then, when you look at in terms of the impact that Steph Curry has had on the league, and you look at in terms of the impact that he's had on our young people, young people nowadays, instead of just enjoying and playing the fundamentals of basketball, they jacking up 3 points like they're Steph Curry. When you see Steph Curry's workout before a game and all what he does, young people are like Steph Curry. So I have to give the edge to Steph in terms of the impact on the league that he's had. So now they're tied 2-2 and say, okay, well, who is the greatest? Kind of reminds me, I got to go back old school. And if any of you are wrestling fans, not today's sports entertainment wrestling, but back in the days of WCW and WWF, which is now WWE, Hulk Hogan was on top, Ric Flair was on top. And the debate was who was the top wrestling champion. Was it Hulk Hogan or was it Ric Flair? It kind of reminds me of right now. Is it Irvin Magic Johnson from his era or is it Steph Curry now in this era? And so if I had to give an answer here on NBA Sports Talk with Walter Strong III, I had to give an answer. I would have to give the nod. Laker fans, I, I'm not delusional. I haven't lost my mind. I'm still a Piston fan. Don't get it twisted. But for this discussion of this debate, especially for those of you who are going to watch the replay, hashtag team replay, Irvin Magic Johnson is the greatest point guard as of right now. Yes, I understand on first take what Stephen A said with Mad Dog Russo and said Michael Jordan texted him at 5:45 and made his case on why Irvin. I get that. I get that. As of right now, Irvin Magic Johnson is the GOAT of both eras. However, if we were going to separate the two eras, the GOAT would be Irvin Magic Johnson in his era. And right now, the GOAT in this era is Steph Curry. You say, well, whoa, what about LeBron? We talk about Magic and Steph. Well, LeBron is not in this discussion. Okay. Leave LeBron over there. For all my replay viewers who are going to be watching me or anyone in the live chat, LeBron is not a part of this discussion. This is about Magic and Steph. So, recap. If we're talking about both eras, Irvin Magic Johnson has the edge. He has the edge right now based upon his accomplishments, his championships. I would have to give him the edge. However, don't let Steph Curry win another championship. Don't let Steph Curry not only win another championship, but win a third MVP. The discussion is over, whether Magic era or Steph's era. The discussion is over. But just to be considered a part of the conversation, a person who came from Davidson College, who people question that he did not have what it take. He didn't have what it he didn't have what it took, man. For those of you who are grammar scholars in the chat, forgive me. You know what I'm saying? To see what Steph Curry has accomplished up to this point. It's amazing. It's amazing. And so that's the reason why I didn't have a problem with him on Gilbert Arenas' podcast show saying I'm the best. And I certainly wasn't going to let this summer go by without us having this GOAT discussion between Magic and Steph. And so let's get back to the chat, get some more of your thoughts, your comments about this discussion. I'm going to work my way up. And Joshua says, he says, old school wrestling fan here. Oh, yes. He said, what you gonna do, brother? What you gonna do, brother? Woo! 4 horsemen in the house. Yeah, nah, man. I'm see. When I started this other channel, I definitely thought about doing a wrestling YouTube channel, but there's so many out there, so many saturated, and I said, nah, I'm gonna pass on it. Florence says, old school Walt Frazier. Okay. Special mention for Walt Frazier, but unfortunately, the only champion he really is his fine clothes and suits he likes to wear during Knick games. And I'm gonna leave it there. Okay. I'm gonna leave that there. Okay. So you said okay. Now maybe that was just the timing of it. Hashtag Steam for the win. Yes. Okay. So we're caught up on comments. And it's a discussion. Even if you are a person who wants to go ahead and pick Magic at this moment, or you just say, hey, for all you West Coast NBA fans who are Laker fans from the days of him going to battle with Larry Bird and the Celtics, and he ended up having tragic magic and ended up costing the game, you got to commend the guy to come back and bounce back the next year and win the championship and win the finals MVP. You got to commend the guy. You do. He again, I'm a Pistons fan, so I got to put this in context. Magic for that time was definitely dominating. He was, and he considered, the best point guard in that era. But when you look at today's game and today's game, it's Steph. It's Steph Curry. It's not Russell Westbrook, though he ended up winning a regular season MVP, and he ended up doing something that Oscar Robertson had done in years and ended up having a triple-double season. Yeah, he did. Dame Lillard. Who else am I missing? Who else? Kyrie Irving, Luka Doncic, Trey Young, but Steph Curry right now, he's the man. He's the man. When he hits a 3-pointer, you're gonna hear Mike Breen and say bang. Even though I'm a little pissed off at ESPN, I'm pissed off at you guys in Disney breaking up Mike Breen, Jeff Van Gundy, and Mark Jackson. I'll leave it there here on Walter Strong III, NBA Sports Talk. Hey, if you're getting great value out of this live stream discussion on the GOAT debate between Magic and Steph, do me a favor, if you haven't already, click that thumbs up button for me, hit that share button, and if you haven't subscribed to the new NBA Sports Talk with Walter Strong III YouTube channel, I want to encourage you to subscribe to the channel, click the alert notification button, join the conversation either in the live chat or in the comments section where we talk NBA basketball and more from a fan's perspective. And so we had to have this discussion tonight. Low, okay? All right. I'm going to work my way up. So what was said before? Say it. Say ho. Say it, brother. Okay. I see if I had an organ, I would preach. No, we ain't gonna preach. Old school. Yes. So yeah, that's it. That's it for tonight. We're gonna go ahead and bring this train into the station. We end up having to do a Friday night instead of our normal Thursday night because we had to attend a wake of a dear member who's just recently transitioned to be with the Lord, and her funeral was today. So trying to go to a wait and then trying to run back and to do a show, I just said, nah, it's probably not wisdom. So let's just jump on a Friday night and just have an NBA sports talk Friday night. And yeah, I get it. SmackDown's on. WWE Sports Entertainment is on. But guess what? NBA Sports Talk with Walter Strong III is on as well, where we're talking NBA basketball and more from a fan's perspective. Hey, if you're just joining me, let me know in the chat where you're watching me from. Give me a hashtag Team Live. Let me know, are you Steph Curry? Or is it Irvin Magic Johnson? Who is the GOAT when it comes to their careers? Who is the GOAT? And if you're watching the replay, in the comment section, let me know. Steph has so much more to do. Steph still has much more to do. And the team that Golden State has, I truly believe that Golden State is going to be in the top 4 in the Western Conference Final. You're going to see Golden State, the Denver Nuggets, the Los Angeles Lakers. Who am I missing? The Nuggets and the Phoenix Suns. Excuse me. Can't forget Kevin Durant. Booker T. Five-time Booker T. Devin Booker. That's who I mean. And Bradley Beal, who just recently got traded from the Washington Wizards over to the Phoenix Suns. He got traded for Chris Paul, and Chris Paul got traded to the Golden State Warriors for Jordan Poole. So I like that Final Four. I like that Final Four between Phoenix, Denver, Golden State, Los Angeles. Denver is the champions. So Denver is definitely going to be a tough beat in the 2023-2024 season. I'm going to jump over right quick. We have someone joining us here on NBA Sports Talk. Mr. Darrow, good evening, sir. Good evening. Sue Bird is the GOAT. This is true. When we get ready to have that WNBA discussion, we'll definitely look at who her opponent would be. I mean, you got names like Cynthia Cooper from the Houston Comets. You got Cheryl Swoops, who if memory serves me correct, they were teammates. So you got some names there, Daryl. I'm not saying that's not a good name to say you can't make the GOAT. But if our memory serves me correctly, Daryl, since you want to go there, let's go there. Memory serves me, she won the most WNBA chips when she was playing. People were lofting her as the Michael Jordan of the WNBA. Now, that's a long time, and I haven't been following it like that, like I follow the NBA. So you can provide some context for me, sir. Provide me some context regarding, has Sue Bird now since passed the accomplishments of Cynthia Cooper? I'm almost for sure she's passed the accomplishments of Cheryl Snoops, but great name in terms of a GOAT discussion. But tonight we're talking about Steph Curry. I would love to get your thoughts, Daryl. When you look at the accomplishments of Steph Curry, 4-time NBA champion, a 2-time regular season MVP, the only unanimous MVP voted, finals MVP, 9-time All-Star versus Earvin Magic Johnson, 3-time MVP, 3 times finals MVP, 5-time NBA champion, and 12-time All-Star. When you look at the accomplishments and you look at their career stats, give me your thoughts, sir, and I will pull you up. Let me get you pulled up here. Okay, we already hit that Sue Bird comment. Let me star you here. Let's see who you got here. Okay, you just enjoying and communicating with the community. Cool. I would love to get your thoughts on who is the GOAT to you, because when you look at the interview that, if you look and you listen to the interview that Steph has with Gilbert, I think it's important in terms of context. Gilbert came straight out and asked him the question, are you the greatest point guard playing today? And then he gave him a follow-up question and said, are you the greatest point guard even in Magic time? And he made it clear, I'm the greatest, and you can't knock him for that. You can't knock him for that, because you can say, well, people were doubting and saying that Steph wasn't a top 10 NBA player before he won his 4th championship. And sometimes players need to light a fire under them and get their motivation to get them to be able to get to that level they need to perform. But I like what Steph said when he won that 4th championship. What else can you say? What else can you say? You doubted and said what we can't do, and we did it. And now there's another narrative out here. And so can't knock him for that. Can't knock him. Cynthia Cooper. Cynthia did not get to play for 20 seasons. Like, so this is true. This is true, sir. I can't debate that in terms of longevity. I can't debate that. Magic is a 6'9" point guard. This we know. He has 138 triple doubles. Steph has only 13. Magic could probably guard the center. And yes, we know he played center. Okay. So Magic is the GOAT point guard. There you have it, right here. There you have it here on NBA Sports Talk with Walter Strong III. Hey, this Daryl has laid down the hammer better than one Michael Jeffrey Jordan texting Stephen A. Smith at 5:45 in the morning. Daryl is already laid down. And I can't debate you. I can't, push back on that right now, Daryl. I can't. However, here's what I'm going to say to you. Here's what I'm going to say to you, sir. Let me get your comment back up. Here's what I'm going to say, Daryl. Curry still has more to do. He has another 3 years left. Let Steph Curry win another NBA championship. Let Steph Curry win either another finals MVP or regular MVP. The discussion will then be over. Yes, Magic is the one who created the triple-double. But on the flip side, when you look at the accomplishments of what Steph Curry has done as the best shooter that has ever played the NBA game, from Reggie Miller to Ray Allen to even his own father, Dale Curry. Magic has a triple double, but look at what Steph has accomplished in terms of impact. Let Steph get another MVP, whether finals or regular, and another NBA chip. The discussion will be over. I truly believe that, sir. I truly believe that. I truly believe that. Steph is the greatest point guard of this era. And of this era, positionless basketball. This is true. And I'll take it a step further with you, Daryl. Do I believe if you could put Magic in this era, would Magic still have the same level of success if the game was being played his way? I do believe that. I'm not going to be a fool and say, oh, in this positionless basketball era that we're playing, where the offense is being primarily run through a point forward, through a team system that makes the point guard who constantly moving and the offense coming through it. Could Magic not be able to perform at a high level? I because of who he was and his mindset and him mentoring guys like Mark Aguirre and him mentoring guys like one Isaiah Thomas. Had to throw that in, Florence. Had to throw that in. I believe Magic could. At the same time, in Magic's era, if the game is not being played Steph, I don't think Steph would be able to be as effective and as successful. You say, but you can say that about Magic, but you can't say that about Steph. Stay with me. Stay with me. Don't lose me. This is still on. We're still live. Give me a hashtag team live in the chat if you're still here with me. And if you're watching the replay, hashtag team replay in the comments section. Click that thumbs up button for me. And if you're just joining me here on NBA Sports Talk, subscribe to the channel, click the alert notification so you'll be alerted when we go live. Stay with me. You say, how could you say Steph wouldn't be successful? Do you remember a person named Dale Ellis from the Seattle Supersonics? Remember Dale Ellis? That brother was a flamethrower. He was a flamethrower when it came to the three-pointer. When you look at the amount of shots that Steph shoots, as Daryl said, in this positionless basketball era that we play, there was a type of Steph Curry in Magic's time. But Dale wasn't shooting threes like that because the offense wasn't being run that way. The game wasn't being played that way. And so as a result, someone like a Dale Ellis wasn't performing and being a superstar. He had the potential to do it, but he wasn't getting those opportunities. I'll throw another name at you. Go a little further in NBA history. Eddie Johnson from the Houston Rockets and the Phoenix Suns. Another flamethrower three-point shooter. But again, because of the game and how it was being played, Eddie, unfortunately, wasn't. And so I do believe, because of the era, which Daryl has said, in Steph's era, he is the GOAT. In Magic's era, he is the GOAT. But if you had to put both together, that's right now. It's Magic Johnson. But Steph is in the conversation. He has a right to sit at the table, regardless of what Michael may say through text messages at 5:45 in the morning. He has a right to sit at the conversation table as one of the best. And so we're going to bring this train into the station. I want to thank. Okay, we got that comment. We're going to go ahead and bring this train into the station. I want to thank Joshua UL popping up here tonight on a Friday, the NBA Sports Talk. Mr. Daryl, thank you, sir. We're normally on Thursday nights, Daryl, at 8 p.m., but we had to have this special Friday night show, and then we're live Sunday night at 8 p.m. as well. So we'd definitely love to, if your schedule permits for Thursdays, to have you a part of the conversation of the live chat. And like we said, if you haven't subscribed to the NBA Sports Talk with Walter Strong III, I want to encourage you to subscribe to the channel, click the alert notification button, and join the conversation in the live chat. And so that's our conversation tonight. Florence, Joshua, Daryl, those of you of Team Live and Team Replay, we thank you so much. And we will see you on Sunday night, 8 p.m., as we talk more NBA basketball and more from a fan's perspective on Sunday night. God bless.